My name is Pugh, and I'm the Portfolio Manager for Open Knowledge International and also the Project Manager of the Open Data for Tax Justice project. So on the Open Data for Tax Justice project, we partnered with the Tax Justice Network to look at all different issues you could around tax justice data or tax justice information, and areas where we could try and improve the situation by releasing more information or making sense of more information or building tools that would help people to understand global tax issues, who is paying tax, who isn't, where taxes are being moved, how profits are being shifted from country to country. Through the process of the Open Data for Tax Justice project, we concentrated on country-by-country reporting data, which is information where large multinational corporations have to publish information about what taxes they pay, how many people they employ, and where they're active around the world, like what economic contributions they make to different countries. But the issue with that is it's very, very difficult to actually find that information, to combine it, to understand how some of these organizations work, where they're registered, where they pay tax, and to get a real picture of how these huge corporations contribute to the global economy. The worry there is that if we don't know what's going on, that there's lots of examples where they are moving their profits to areas where they pay less tax, just through very legal tax avoidance mechanisms. But when you look at it as a whole, across the whole world, you start to see lots of patterns which are quite worrying, and which there's a lot of international activity happening to try and make sure that companies pay the right amount of tax in the countries where they operate. So through the project and through the white paper that we're currently publishing, we want to advocate for creating a public register of country-by-country reporting data to make it easier for anyone, be they journalists, activists, advocates, open data specialists, to understand more about who pays taxes where in the world, and to get a better picture of the activities and the economic activities of corporations. We also think that companies and investors, there's an interest, a growing interest around the world, in saying that if you're going to invest in a company, you want to have a better understanding of what that company is doing, where they're working, whether they are on a sound financial basis. If you've got a company that looks fantastic, but it turns out that they're not paying any of their taxes in any of the country, so they could be liable for lawsuits and huge tax bills further down the line, then maybe that's not the right kind of company to invest in. But there's been lots of conversations at the UN level, there's lots of conversations in the EU, across the EU Parliament, all the different countries in the EU unfortunately have slightly different views at the moment on public country-by-country reporting, but it is an issue that's being discussed at that level. So were someone to show the value of having this data public by creating a register like we want to do in the next phase of this project, then we hope that that would be able to be used as part of the conversation to understand how everyone, all those organisations I just named, could make use of that information. In terms of how they would use it, we would hope to create a public database. There are certain sources of country-by-country reporting data already, where we could tap into that and create a pilot database by using information that's already out there, thanks to various EU, US and Canadian legislation. And then we would publish a standard and a register of information to start the process off, so to start showing what could be done if this information were all put together. The next steps for the Open Data for Tax Justice project are that today we're publishing a white paper laying out the work we've done over the last year and how we would like to move towards creating a public register of country-by-country reporting data in the future. So once we publish that document, we're going to work on connecting with other people who are working around tax transparency issues, people who are looking at doing things like having more beneficial ownership data available in the public domain. That's when you get to know who really owns companies. There's a lot of organizations and ways around the world to create companies whose ownership is hidden. And an important part of the work we want to do in the future is to understand who owns which companies and how companies are all connected. So we need to do work connecting with those organizations. And we want to take the work we've done and the understanding that we've gained about country-by-country reporting data and use that to create the pilot database to show what could be done with the country-by-country reporting data which is currently available, and use that to advocate for more data to be made publicly available. So in the future, we would then use that to go and talk to people like the EU Parliament, or to talk to people like the UK Parliament organisations who've all got together recently. There was a summit at the end of last year where parliamentarians from all over the world got together to appeal for greater tax transparency. So we'd like to take the work that we're doing and combine it with efforts all around the world looking at trying to improve tax transparency, and show how if everyone could push for more data to be available, and if there were tools out there to make that data usable, then everyone could benefit from having more tax transparency and accountability data.